This is the Over 30 Skinny Guy's Guide to Building Lean Muscle. So, it's exciting times, people. It's the 1st of December, which means Christmas is almost upon us. Just 25 days to go. We have mince pies in the UK are available. Christmas mince pie cookies are available. Hardlines Coffee in Cardiff, check these bad boys out, have just released their coffee blend. Highly recommend. By the way, that says Nadolig Llawen, which means Happy Christmas in Welsh. You want to say Happy Christmas in Welsh and Happy New Year, you say Nadolig Llawen a blwyddyn newydd. Random fact of the day for you. What else happens on the 1st of December? Snow is falling in ski resorts, seeing all the pictures the last couple of days. So I'm super excited about that. Need to go on the board and start mountaineering and get up on the slopes ASAP. What else? Oh yeah. 1st December means it's Member of the Year time. That's right, our annual Member of the Year announcement takes place today. And that is none other than Amit Sharma from Guildford in Surrey in the good old UK. I almost said US of A then, but in the UK. So excited to talk to you about that. And that's the whole topic today. The Over 30 Skinny Guy's Guide to Putting on Lean Muscle Mass. And I'm going to do a deep dive and take you on a discovery and a journey and explain every single step that we took and how we helped Amit to get to where he is today. So, let's dive in. Scientists have made some wonderful discoveries in the last 10 years. The Higgs boson over at CERN is a classic example. Jetpacks for the military and Red Bull, I think, which are quite fun as well. You name it, there's been so many wonderful technological advances in the history of mankind this past 10 years. However, there's no magic pill for fat loss. And there's no magic pills for skinny guys to get them muscular and brawny, from scrawny to brawny, as we put it. There just isn't one. Well, technically maybe drugs, if you want to go down that route, but we don't do that here at Strength Matters, and we don't believe in doing that either. Don't take drugs, kids. So, what do you do? Well, there's lots of ways you can go things. I could go all bro science only, like every other video on YouTube, but I'm not going to do that today. I want to give you a step-by-step case study and to show you exactly what we did in our thought process. That's the key thing, the thought process that we as coaches make to get people from A to B. Now, I'm speaking on behalf of Josh Kennedy here. So Josh, shout out to you for getting the results with Amit in the first place. It's all your hard work. But as a team together, it's the same principles that we use here at Strength Matters and the system that we follow to deliver results like this. Now, again, shout out to Amit in the first place. Now, this stuff isn't easy. Getting and putting on lean muscle mass is not easy. It's a long, drawn out process. And just like people who are trying to lose weight, it is equally as hard. The problem is, people who put on muscle don't get the same credit they deserve, because sometimes it all goes to the people in the fat loss transformation stories and that's why we've made Amit our Member of the Year, because we know how hard it is to get results like this. You know, we've nudged him in the right direction, but it's his hard work when it comes down to strength training and also nutrition that have got him to where he is today. Everything and all the media attention goes to people that are overweight, and rightly so, to try and help them lose weight and get fitter and healthier. But for every overweight person that we tend to see just as many, maybe slightly fewer, skinny people desperately wanting to put on lean muscle mass. Now, there's 3 common things that we see, the common traits across every person, men and women, that we come across who want to try and help put on and pack on lean muscle mass. And number 1 is that they enough of the right food. I think that's the key phrase there. They're not eating enough food, but they're not eating enough of the right food. That's the number 1. Number 2, notes. They're not training enough. They're not doing enough training. And number 3 is they're not strong enough or fit enough to withstand a muscle building, muscle gaining program. And that's key here to the whole process. Now, there's also a 4th factor that people don't often talk about. It's this whole term of being skinny fat. Now, whenever we're doing body composition work, we always look at your weight, but we also look at your body fat percentage. That goes for people who are slightly overweight, but also for people who are skinny in appearance too. Now, your BMI may say that you're fit and healthy. However, if we take your body fat percentage readings, it may tell us a whole different story. I can't tell you, particularly with men, that we get people coming to us, they look great, the t-shirts, jackets on, they look slim, they look healthy. take the t-shirt off, take the body fat readings, and we're seeing body fat readings upwards of 20%. Now, that tells another story in its own right. You know, it says that skinny people may not be as healthy as they think they are. In appearance, they may be. But sometimes skinny people need to follow a fat loss program first before they're ready to do a bulking phase. And there's 3 reasons why that is. The number one, a pigeon just come flying past the window. The number one reason is that gaining fat is just a slippery slope down. It's going to affect your performance. It's going to affect your health, and more importantly, it's going to affect the way you see your abs. And let's talk honestly about this. Most people want to build muscle so they can see their rippling six-pack and show off in front of the mirror or show off at the gym. We all do, irrespective of age, okay? It's a vanity thing. It's something that we all get. I get it still from, you know, my days growing up with Arnold Schwarzenegger. But it's really important to remember this. If you're sitting at about, let's just say you're 185 pounds and you've got 15% body fat as a male, just using as an example now off the top of my head, and you pack on 15 pounds of weight, 8 coming from muscle and 7 from fat, that's going to take you up to around 20% body fat. Now, why is that? Well, it's hard to gain weight without putting on some body fat. You can gain a lot of fat quickly, depending on the system and style that you choose to do. But that's not what we're trying to do, because if we want to bring you back down to that lean, rippling six-pack for health and performance, it means you're going to have to lose an extra 18 pounds to get back down. And that is it's a strategy that bodybuilders use all the time. In off-season, they happily gain fat while they're building muscle, but they're going to pull it off afterwards. But do you want to go through this never-ending cycle of up and down, yo-yoing up and down to lose weight to get your six-pack showing? No, you don't. You want to minimize the amount of fat that you put on. And I'll explain that more in the case study and Amit's example later in the video. Now, the second reason why you may want to lose fat before you go on a muscle building program is that you may find that once you lose a bit of fat, you don't want to add any more muscle because you may already have too much fat that's hiding your hard-earned muscle, and it's like not showing the chiseled physique that you desire and you want. But when you lose that bit of body fat, you may find, actually, my body looks exactly the way I want it. And we see it time and time again, particularly with people who overestimate or underestimate their body fat percentage, sometimes as much as 5% most of the time. They think, yeah, I got 10% body fat, but my abs aren't showing. No, you're not. You're probably sitting at between 15 to 16%. So losing some body fat first, when you know the numbers, is actually key. And a lot of times people don't want to add any more muscle on once they know and they see their defined physique. And the third and final reason is, do you actually know how much muscle you want to put on? We see so many arbitrary numbers saying, yeah, I'd love to add 10 pounds or 15 pounds of muscle, but do you know how much that is and what that looks like? Great if you're a bodybuilder or a beginner bodybuilder, you want to put on 20 to 25 pounds of lean muscle mass, fantastic. But as everyday athletes over 30, do you know what it'll do to your performance? Are you playing any sports? There's so many other questions you've got to ask yourself before you say, yes, I need to put 15 pounds of muscle on. It may only be a couple of pounds, but if we lean out, we then start to ask better questions. We get a better understanding first and give us a platform to allow us to develop the muscle and go as far as we need to. So it may be only 2 or 3 pounds, but we know exactly how much we need to go every step of the way, and we can quantify it and also plan for it over the long haul. So again, how much muscle do you actually want to put on? Most people just don't know. Damn, this is good coffee. I highly recommend it. Do you know what's damn good? This mug. It's a strong mug. Strength matters. Remember that. You can get yours for just $1. That's right. Get a mug. Shameless plug here. For just $1. I'll leave a link down below. Best $1 you'll spend this Christmas, I promise you. Anyway, let's dive into the case study. Let's talk about what we did with Amit, how we got him to where he is today. Now, there's 2 things to remember here. We provided the knowledge and the push in the right direction. Amit did all the hard work. He did the heavy lifting, no pun intended. So hats off to both Amit and his coach, Josh Kennedy, our head coach here, who did the work and the knowledge to push him in the right direction and was holding him accountable every step of the way. I don't give Josh enough credit, but that's it. That's a 1 yearly bit of credit, Josh. So take it or leave it. Get back to work. Anyway, let's get into the office. Let's go into the case study. Let's talk about the 3 phases we took Amit through to get him the results that he wanted and how you can apply what we do with Amit for your own training for yourself. So let's go dive in. All right, so let's start with Amit's phase 1 of his program. There's 3 phases we're going to talk through here, and 3 phases you can use for your own training anytime you want to. We always like to break them into these type of distinct phases. So tend to have foundations first, then you tend to have a fat loss phase first, and then you have muscle gain after that. You can use that for skinny people, you can use that for people who are overweight too. It's always the same sort of principles that we apply here. So let's look at Amit's stats and details from the start, from the get-go. So let's look at his photo. So this is his photo here that we have in front of us. And these are the numbers right at the start when Amit started training with us. He had a BMI of 22.8. He weighed 70 kilos, which is about 154 pounds. And they had a body fat percentage of 16.7% with a waist of 32.7 inches. Not too shabby. He's not looking unhealthy. He's, looking in good, healthy shape. Now remember, for people to be healthy, it means lying within a range of 10% to 20% body fat for men. We're not talking about ripped. Everyone assumes being ripped is healthy. Sometimes it's far from it. Healthy ranges, we know, lie between 10 and 20% for men. Now, if you want to be more athletic, you want to go down towards 10 to 12%. Those are the kind of standard numbers for everyday athletes. Performance, it depends on which sport you're doing, but you want to be down towards the lower end if you're going for absolute performance. So he's healthy. We've done the checklist now. He's not skinny fat by any means of the imagination. If we're over 20%, then yes, you can argue that is the case, but he's in good, healthy ranges. However, we want to see him leaner first before we start to bulk up. So just on the overall picture and the basic numbers when it comes to weight loss, your BMI, all these things in conjunction, we know he's in a good starting place to begin with. So we need to dig deeper, and that's where the Strength Manners assessments come in. And there's 4 things that stood out for us during his actual assessments. By the way, there's a blog that goes with this. I highly recommend clicking the link on that down below, so you can read more about this and go back to it and flip between the two as well, because it's going to help you understand the process along the way. So, phase 1, laying the foundations, we're looking at 4 things I've highlighted on the blog here. So there's body fat percentage, we're going to get leaner before we start to bulk up. And there was 2 tests, the Zenith twist test and his standing twist test. Both of them twisting rotation type issues, which highlighted thoracic mobility problems. Now, if your thoracic mobility is locked down, you're going to be loading weight onto dysfunction. That's a huge problem when it comes to lifting heavy weights. Think of a house. If you have rocky foundations and you put all the layers of the house, you're building the house on top of it, it's going to crumble away. So when it comes to thoracic mobility, it's something you need to bear and consider when you're building this foundation of muscle. And that was the first thing. So he wasn't able to rotate by turning around on the floor in quadruped position and also standing up, twisting around. Now, the other thing as well, and this is where you'll see a lot of people say, no, you shouldn't be doing cardio during a muscle building phase. I'll challenge that. I'm not going to say you're wrong. There's no right or wrong in this fitness game. It's how you perceive fitness to be. But I'll challenge you because his cardio and his 2,000 meter road test came back at 8 minutes, 53 seconds. That to me shows weak cardiovascular capacity. And when it comes to skinny people trying to put on lean muscle mass, they need to be fitter. They need to have a good, strong cardiovascular capacity because they need to be lifting weights more often, and it allows them to recover faster. So those are the things that stood out right at the start. Thoracic mobility, we couldn't load heavy weight onto dysfunction, and his cardiovascular capacity isn't there. So we need to improve it to allow him to recover faster so he can lift more weight, lift more volume in a short time frame, and also recover faster in between days so he can lift more frequently. And that's really, really important. So thoracic mobility, cardiovascular capacity, and we needed to do a little bit of body fat reduction to bring him down to a leaner mass here. However, there were other issues going on in these foundations, and this is really important for you to understand. At the early stages of your fitness program, if you're brand new to fitness or even if you're experienced, you've got to set the foundations. And there are some things in particular with Amit here now that we had to address, and that one was his elbow issues. He had ongoing elbow issues. If there's pain anywhere in the body, you've got to sort it out before you go into a lifting program. Otherwise, you'll just crumple, you'll collapse in a heap on the floor, you'll get nowhere anytime soon. So he had elbow issues. Now, there are many causes for having ongoing elbow issues, elbow tendonitis, golfer's elbow, you name it. However, what we see more often than not, it comes from having a weak core, or core not working in conjunction with the rest of the body, which means it's getting stability from elsewhere. So we had to work on his core strength, in particular the obliques, to give him what we call zone 1 strength, which is you can build strength from the ground out, from the ground up, essentially. Secret tip for you: strength training, grip, abs, and glutes. Those are the 3 things you need to work on to show the secret to strength. So be it. But we need to work on his core strength. So his foundation program involved a lot of mobility for the T-spine, a lot of cardiovascular capacity, and also a lot of core work to improve his zone 1 oblique core strength, to try and reduce the impact of his elbow issue so he can lift heavier later on, and just get him stronger, get him used to lifting, to allow this foundation to take place, to get him ready to lift. And that was what we were trying to do here, is lay the foundations first, which took longer than you may imagine, a few months here, to get him ready to go on to the fat loss stage and get the foundations and basics in place. So let's dive into phase 2 of Amit's program, which was a specific fat loss phase. He'd addressed his issues with his elbow. He was stronger, his core was stronger, and he was a lot quicker on the rower. His cardiovascular capacity had improved. He was down to about 8 minutes now on the 2K row, but he's also running 25-minute 5K times too. So he had a good, solid base of cardiovascular capacity for us to move forward to the next phase. So let's look at his picture. Like, what are the numbers here? What are the numbers telling us here? So from a weight loss perspective and fat loss perspective, what we had here at the end of his second phase was he was now down 4 kilos, about 10 pounds, which is now 145 pounds, and his body fat had come down to 11.6%. Fantastic. Look how ripped he is. A lot more athletic, a lot more leaner, a lot more muscular, it looks like, even though we haven't done any muscle building phase on the tour. It was all prep work until now, and his waist had come down a good 3 inches, from 32.7 down to 29.7. Quite a traumatic transformation, don't you see? And this is all the fat loss element to it. Now, what did we do here? So let's dive into the numbers and the details. Now, when it comes to any strength training program, there are 4 things you need, fat strength training program, any fat loss training program, there's 4 things you need to do. That is, you need to lift heavy, you need to do lactate inducing lifting, that means pushing yourself beyond failure in this horrible world of shit, aerobic work and anaerobic work, think of sprints, that type of thing. So you need to do those 4 things, and you need to do them often. We got Amit training 5 to 6 times a week. He was doing 4 strength training programs during the week and 2 aerobic capacity workouts. So that's 6 times a week. He was doing lots and lots of volume. Now, like I said, we're based on those 4 elements of the fat loss apocalypse, we call it here. And in that stage is when you're talking about movements and what sort of exercise he was doing the fundamental human movements, all movements. So our human movements are locomotion, push, pull, hinge, squat, rotate, and anti-rotate. So all his workouts would involve those 7 movements. And in terms of rep ranges, we were looking at strength endurance and muscular endurance. We weren't doing any max power work, we were doing at the higher rep ranges. So strength endurance for us is about 5 to 8 reps, and muscular endurance is 10 to 12 reps plus. So there's lots of that with paired exercises and supersets during this whole period. I'll give you an example. Again, on the blog, there's an example of one of the workouts he's doing. I won't talk you through that now. It just takes too long and it doesn't make sense me just talking it out. You can read that on the blog, link down below. So that was a thing. Now, the other thing that came up on further assessments that he had a pulling to pushing discrepancy. So therefore, most of his programs involve 2 to 1 pulling to pushing ratio. So a lot of pulling work, a lot of pull-up work during this exact phase. Now, that was his strength plan. That was an overall view of his strength plan. 4 days a week strength training, 2 days a week aerobic capacity work. The key to this, though, and like with anything, is nutrition. I can't emphasize this enough. You can do as many strength training plans as you want to, but unless you get your diet right, it ain't going anywhere anytime soon, unless you hit the jackpot and you get lucky a little bit. But for a system to follow, good quality strength training program, good quality aerobic capacity work, and a quality system of nutrition to get you through to where you need to get to. So this is what we did with Amit with the nutrition. We didn't touch it in the first stage of his training. No, we waited to phase 2 when he was ready and willing and able to do it. So, like anything, when it comes to nutrition with us, we need to understand whether people want to count calories and are happy to count calories and see this number as data, or they don't want to and they're fearful of it. Amit, fortunately, which is I tend to see the quickest way to lose weight, was happy to track the data and share his data with us so we could see his performance over a period of time. Step number 1, that was calculate his maintenance calorie. How many calories does he need to maintain his current weight? So we spent 2 weeks here, and these are the numbers specifically for Amit. So we found out that his maintenance was 2,547 calories, with a breakdown of his macronutrients being carbs 270 grams, protein 150 grams, fat was 95 grams, and fiber at 40 grams. We spent a few weeks here and he maintained weight like that. This is where it gets interesting, and there's 2 phases to this fat loss program now. One is not what we expected, and one you may not expect too. So, first of all, that was his maintenance, 2,547. We went to a cut and we took his calories down to 2,100 calories with a breakdown of 192 grams of carbs, 177 grams of protein, more protein, fat 70 grams, and fiber at 32 grams. However, look at this chart. Look at the chart right in front of you here now. Look how much weight he lost in a short time, period of time. It was way too quick. That is not healthy. Losing that much weight and body fat is not healthy for anybody to do it that quickly. So we had to change and up his calories slightly more, so his calories went from 2,100 because he was losing weight too fast to 2,276 to make it more manageable. You can see when we did that on the actual graph itself to make sure we were working towards his body composition but not losing it too quickly, because that's just unhealthy at the best of times. So it's just interesting. A lot of people, particularly ectomorphs and people who are skinny, will come across this problem. I wish I had this problem. It's sadly not the case for us endomorphs. But for people who are skinny, they do come across this. If you get your nutrition right, if you eat the right quality of macronutrients and the food for your body, you will find that the weight will just fall off you. I wish everyone could do that, but sadly no. It's a good problem. It's a problem to be aware of if it starts happening to you. Don't do it too fast or too soon. So that was the issue here. So we did the strength training plan. He followed a diet. He was compliant. He was over 80% compliant the entire time, more 90 to 95% here, which was the key. And that's why he saw such rapid fat loss here whilst leaning out and getting his chiseled physique. But this leads us into phase 3 because he was lean, he was athletic better, stronger, and his elbow was hurting less, all these wonderful things. But then it led to his real goal, which was to put muscle size back on. So we completed phase 1, the foundations. This was the end of phase 2, if you look at his photo again, of his fat loss phase, and he was in a good place. Look at his smile. Like, no wonder he's smiling. He's done a lot of hard work and he's got the results that he deserved. Right, so I'm just gonna sip of my coffee. This is blowing good, I'll tell you how much. Let's look at phase 2. Let's start off again by looking at the photo of his photo at the end of phase 3, and look at him. It's not a big grin anymore, it's just smug. Yeah, I've done this type of smug face look. So I like that a lot. I like that. I mean, well done. I like that. So let's look at his stats. So remember, he started off at 70 kilos. We pulled it down to 66 kilos, which is 144 pounds. And now, in this photo, he's back up to 68 kilos, 2 kilos and approximately 5 pounds of lean muscle mass. Now, his weight is still the same at 29.7, but his body fat is now up. Yes, up. You can tell by the photo, it's not as chiseled, but it's only up by 1%. It's gone from 11.6% up to 12.6%. And I'm okay with that. He's okay with that. And that's how we want to start bulking and thinking this in terms of putting on mass. You don't want to get this side wrong, because a lot of people will eat too much, too fast, too quickly, and their fat will increase exponentially as well as their muscle size. That may work for you and that may be okay. But if we're talking about performance and health, we don't want to increase Body fat percentage, too fast, too soon. We want to keep that and minimize it as much as possible. You're not going to eradicate it. It's going to happen if you're trying to bulk up and you're eating more calories. That's just science. But you need to try and minimize it. And this is what we did. So I'm going to start with the nutrition element with Amit first. So remember, what his maintenance calories were. We managed to maintain that throughout. By the way, incidentally, if you're wondering how long he was dieting for, we always use a 3-week on, 1 week off type of protocol. That's our system, that's how we follow things. There's more about that in our book, Nutrition Over 30, link down below again if you want to see that. So, remind us of our maintenance calories. He's at 2,547 maintenance, with carbs 270, protein 150, fat 95 grams, and fiber at 40. Here's the thing, we only want to increase calories slowly, so we work around 5% increase. So, his first bulking phase, we increased his calories only to 2,646 calories. That was a 5% increase, with carbs of 307, more carbs. Yes, carbs aren't the devil. Protein was 148 grams, fat 91 grams, and fiber 35 grams. That was bulking phase number 1. He started to put a bit of weight on. Not too much, not fast enough for our liking, and it was more of a maintenance period, so we upped the calories again a few weeks later. So we kept him that for a couple of weeks, and we kind of reversed him back up slowly, not too fast, not too soon. We reversed him back up, so we added another 5%, so in total he was now 10% above baseline. Don't jump to 10%, even though I'm telling you he's at 10% now. Start by 5%, maintain, and then go up slowly. Don't do everything at once. It takes time. The human body takes time to develop. Okay, the human body still takes 9 months to have a baby. Remember that, it's not like Netflix. So, calories for bulking phase 2 now were 2,718 calories, 318 grams of carbs, 149 grams of protein, fat 94 grams, and fiber of 41 grams. There's one thing you can learn from this piece: don't bulk up too fast, too soon. Take it stage by stage. I recommend going at around 5% once you've worked out your macros and once you've worked out your maintenance calories. So, that was nutrition. He just stuck to it. There's nothing more. Like he was following a flexible dieting plan. He ate what he wanted as long as it fitted his macros. That's right for some people, it's wrong for other people, irrespective. This is what he did, and I want to show you exactly what Amit did here and how Josh held him accountable to do it. So, nutrition is important. It's probably the most important factor here, but you need to be consistent with your strength training. So this is what we did and how we transitioned him into a muscle bulking, muscle building phase. So, compound movements. It's as simple as that. Pushing, pulling, squatting movements, big, heavy lifts. His body was now ready. He was fit enough to recover from these movements, and that's what we focus on, the big compound movements. Now, our system of hypertrophy is based on more recent research of doing the right amount of lifts for your muscle fiber type. So whether it's fast, if your one muscle is more type 1 fast twitch or slow twitch, or type 2 fast twitch, we focus around that element. I probably need to do another video of this separately about that, but that's how we focus on it. But when it comes to this, you've got to think of it in 2 elements. You need to do the heavy rep ranges, but you also need to do the muscular endurance rep ranges too when you're working on that. So you may be a bit confused. I haven't quite got my head around it either, so only because we're still learning and providing it. It's working, but I need to find out a correct system to get it right in my head so I can explain it properly to you, and that's important. So, hinge, push, pull, squat movements, a mixture of low reps paired with high volume sets. He was also doing compound movements, 5 sets of 5 example of that of deadlifts for say. He was also doing supersets with a lot of the work as well. So we're hitting so many different elements to the hypertrophy thing. There's no right or wrong way to do this. This is just our method. So good example of a workout was, part A of his workout was deadlift, 3 sets of 10 reps. Yes, deadlifting for 10 reps. Kettlebell swings, heavy 5 sets of 5 reps. So he was doing heavy sets of swings there. Then we did a superset, bench press, superset with a pendlay row. 5 sets of 10, 5 sets of 10 with 60 seconds rest in between. And then we finished with good old heavy bicep curls. So, Again, the blog is going to have more details to the workouts. I recommend, again, clicking on that to go and read it after you've watched this video, or vice versa. Come back to it, whatever you want to do. And again, look at his photo. This is the muscle. He's put on 2 kilos, 5 pounds of lean muscle mass, which for skinny people is pretty hard. And he was happy with this. Again, that smug grin says it all. And that was the way we did it. We bulked up using a steady progressional approach to his nutrition, which was the key factor here. He remained consistent with that, along with the consistency of his heavy lifting too. We also did some aerobic work during this phase, but not quite as much as what we were doing before, because the focus was on developing muscle. Now, contradicts what I said before, because you need to have a strong aerobic base, yes. And I can agree with the bro science guys here too, that you need to reduce a little bit of cardio here when it comes to bulking up and putting on lean muscle mass, but you shouldn't eradicate it altogether, and you should definitely revisit it afterwards, because good strong heart equals good healthy human being. It also allows you to recover faster, to lift more weights, and that is the secret here. And this is what he did. This is how we approached phase 3 step by step. So now that we've gone through the 3 phases that Amit went through to get his results, what are some of the lessons that we can learn, or you can learn and take away from this program? Well, number 1 is you need to be ready and able to tackle a muscle building program. It's so many foundations that need to go into it. Most people jump in too fast, too soon, and they get injured, frustrated, and they don't see results. So sometimes you need to put the muscle building on the back burner and start with like a foundations program to begin with, to get you ready to handle a muscle building phase. That's the first thing you can learn from it. Now the second thing is, even if you're skinny, sometimes you may need to lose some body fat first to lean out before you add that bulk on. It makes you look better, makes you more defined. And it also can mean that you may not want to add quite as much muscle as what you thought about in the process. So, and again, the final thing I think as well, looking at all the stats and my notes here on the screen, I think you need to be prepared to work extremely hard. Just like people who try to, lose body fat, you have to work and build the volume in to make this happen, because ectomorphs, they struggle. You struggle to put on weight, you struggle to, put on muscle. Therefore, you need to work almost twice as hard to do that, just like people who need to lose fat. You both have issues on both sides of the spectrum. However, you still have to put the hard work in place. Yes, you can take drugs, but that is cheating, and that's not healthy for you. Remember, health comes first here. So there's no magic pill. It's hard work, grit, and determination, and that's what's going to take you to looking like Amit and becoming like a member of our year as well, and putting on that lean muscle mass. So there's 2 things you can do right now. You can take what you've learned in this video and you can go and apply it to your own training, or there's 2 other options I'd like to suggest you may want to do, and it may help you out. Number 1 is, if you want to learn more about nutrition, we've got a book that we've put together called Nutrition Over 30, link down below. That'll be out very, very soon. That gives you our full step-by-step process on how we get people results through nutrition. And the third thing is our coaching program. If you want to be our next member of the year like Amit, we'd invite you to come and have a chat with me, learn all about what we're doing here and how we may help you. It's not right for everybody, but it's a free call. There's a link down below. You can have a free consultation with me, and I'll find out whether we're a right fit and that we can actually help you in the first place. But anyway, Amit, cheers. Like, absolutely awesome. Your smiles on your faces, that smug look at the end says it all. I'm really proud for you, and congratulations on being our Member of the Year 2021. And yeah, Josh Kennedy, I'll say thank you and well done to you too. Great work as the coach. So, till next time, guys, happy Christmas. Can I say that? See you later.